Hello, my name is Dianthea, and I'll be introducing you to an interesting way to get as much as you can from your bananas. I pride myself on being as zero waste as I can. I say that on account of not being able to eat plastic. I wouldn't want to eat the peel to these bananas either. Have you tried biting into a banana like an apple? It's not pleasant. So, what I'm prepping these peels for is called Oleo Saccharum, an old oil extraction process with origins in the 17th century. Although traditionally done with citrus, it also works surprisingly well with banana. I've got 4 bananas here. I'll be taking the stems off because they're mostly dried out. The peels themselves need to be cut into strips. I'll be speeding through the tedium of it all for you. If you see this ring here, that's no good. Gotta cut that, yep. If you don't cut them all into strips, your bananas will explode. Yeah. What's very important now is weighing your peels with a scale, because this recipe calls for equal parts peel and sugar. So I just slide those in, pick up any strays that fall down. And that leaves us with 200 grams? Oh, I see you, little rascal. Get in there. Yeah, 200 grams. Now I'm putting all my peels into this jar. It's a big jar, but it's a lot of banana. I'm used to doing maybe 2 peels at a time. Now what's going on is I'm adding 200 grams of sugar on top. Put the top on, give it a good jostle. And now it's all evenly coated. All that's left to do is to put it in the fridge, yeah, right there. And now we leave it overnight. Yeah, that's good. Open it up, and... Eesh. Oof. That's quite a bit of unoiled sugar. Yeah, show it again. Just gonna get a soft scraper and mix that up a bit. Then I'm gonna leave it in the fridge just a bit longer. Now, I personally don't plan to eat those 4 bananas straight, so I'm gonna do a surprise recipe. That's right, a surprise cake. A bananas tres leches to be exact. I'll set the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will grease my pan. Really grease it. You see the oil going on there? Yeah, foreshadowing's a literary device in which in this bowl goes a cup and a half of flour. I don't gotta say all-purpose. The layperson doesn't have bread flour in their kitchen. It's very important you tamp your dry ingredients down into the measuring spoon. Can't just scoop and level. Next is a teaspoon and a half of baking powder and a quarter teaspoon of salt. Get it all mixed together with a fork or a whisk. Now, in the other corner of the kitchen, I'm taking 5 egg yolks and 3/4 cups of sugar. The astute among you might think this looks more like a quarter cup. You'd be correct. Now, you whisk all these together. The astute among you might see that this is not a whisk. Oops. Whisk until the mix becomes a light yellow. Mine did not. I thought it was because I was using duck eggs for a richer texture. I did add the extra sugar shortly after though. After adding 1/3 cup of milk and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, you add 2 mashed bananas. Just make sure you don't pull a... Don't want to pull a that. Just make sure to scrape the sides and you'll be left with what I was expecting my eggs to look like. Now you just incorporate your wets into your dries. I'd start off gently, but this isn't the step for that. Slap your egg around a little bit if you'd like, it won't fight back. Oh. Didn't even break. Now here is where you want to mind your manners. We take our 5 egg whites and you whisk. Make sure your whisk and your bowl are clean and dry. Any external moisture could ruin your meringue. Don't play with meringue. Meringue has killed for less. Meringue will ruin you. I don't like making meringue too often. We're beating our egg whites to soft peaks, and what that means is if you take a bit off the meringue with a spoon, it'll form a peak where you pull it up from, but the tip will still be a bit floppy. Next, we add a 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm scraping the sides with a scraper I just washed and dried. If I respect the meringue, it'll tolerate me. Now we beat it to stiff peaks, which is the same thing, but the peak will be stiff, not floppy. Now it's time for the gentle part. We'll be adding the meringue in, and we'll be folding it into the batter. What folding is the stirring motion that you'll see. I'm scooping from the bottom, and then I'm pulling it up and over the top. This ensures that the meringue stays proper as you incorporate it in. Even at 500% speed, you can see that I'm being very careful. You gotta mind your P's and Q's around meringue. If meringue picks up your kid from your house on its motorcycle and says they'll be back at 11, you say thank you to meringue. Once everything's one big happy family, we scrape the batter into the pan we prepped at the start. Once it's all in there, it goes into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 32 to 40 minutes. Yes, I am taking it one-handed, thank you for noticing. Ignore the mitten fuzz on my finger. While that's cooking, we're going to mix the leches. You'll never guess how many leches go into this. In goes a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. I started mixing with the scraper, but you really should use a fork to incorporate the extra thick condensed milk. While I was putting the rest of my heavy cream back, I noticed that my Oleo Saccharum was ready. No more stray sugar granules on the bottom. So I took a ladle and got all the syrup out, and I wanted to get as much as I could, so I really squeezed the banana peel with a spoon. It definitely added a fair bit. I use this wherever I can. Put it in milk, put it in smoothies.
Put it on your grill.
Don't put that there. Anyways, I got, right around... That's the wrong side, me. I got around 200 milliliters. You can see there. Now let's check in on that cake. Yep, it's a cake. We'll poke a toothpick in it to check if the inside's cooked. This time there were some crumbs, so I let it cook for a little longer. Now this next clip, I think it's important I just let this play out. I greased it properly. I don't... Oh. All the way off. You and I, we both saw me spray that. Ooh, that makes me upset. We both watched me oil this thing. After experiencing the grief of 1,000 mourning children watching their ice cream scoop hit the ground, I returned to my milk mix to pour a cup into a separate bowl to save for later. After 30 minutes of cooling and some cakel reconstruction surgery off camera, I poked holes into my cake to allow the milk mix better access to it. A quick pour over for what stayed in the big bowl. And after another 30 minutes to allow the cake to soak, I mixed 50 milliliters of my banana Oleo Saccharum into the other milk, gave it a good mix, and topped off the cake with it. While that was soaking in, I added 1 3/4 cup of heavy cream and 1 tablespoon of sugar to my mixing bowl. You can trust my measuring, I did it on camera this time. Oh, you wanna see? Here. Now that that knowledge is beamed into your head and into your corneas, I move on to whipping the cream. Not much to say here, the cream is being whipped. Still being whipped. Did you know dice were originally made with 5 sides? They were created in ancient Mesopotamia to play a game surprisingly similar to blackjack. You'd take turns with someone rolling a die, and if you went past 17, a superstitious number due to their words for it and death sounding similar, you lost. The winner was whoever got closest to it without going over. Kinda weird, right? It's 'cause I made it up. Anyways, now that the whipped cream is formed, it's time to dress the cake. I got an offset spatula in my culinary arts class that's really nice with handling frosting, but like, I got a uniform too. Doesn't mean I need it for spreading whipped cream. Now here's the fun part of decorating a cake. You can see me just plopping the slices down at first, but right around here, I get an idea for how to set them. You see me fixing up the other banana slices, you see me setting them down in groups of 3. I even put like a caramel drizzle over the top. I made a cake from scratch. I'm justified in using bottled caramel. And will you just look at that? Look at it again. You can see my plating skills aren't rusty. I put down a dollop of key lime curd to refresh the palate, and a little swirl of whipped cream with a banana on top. But enough from me. Let's hear me talk. Oh yeah, that's great. I love that. Something tells me that I thoroughly enjoyed that cake. Now, I admit there's still some peel left over, so how am I going to use that?
Compost. Compost. Compost pile.